Hello everyone, Cole here with another midweek message from Selkirk United Church. It is July 2nd. Today it's a Thursday, which is a day later than our usual midweek message. That's because of Canada Day being yesterday. The beginning of July marks the beginning of my fourth year at Selkirk United. It has been a very interesting third year, but God has been with us through it all. And I know that God has many blessings in store for us in the seasons and years that lie ahead. No matter what circumstances we're facing, we'll face them together, with God and with each other. Some sad news to pass along first. Many of you will have already heard this by now, but one of our dear congregation members, Anita Carroll, passed away about a week and a half ago on June 21st. So we're thinking about her family today and in the days to come. I was doing some catching up at the office this morning, checking messages, making some phone calls, and opening some mail, and I want to share some good news stories with you from my reading today. There are a lot of bad news stories to choose from around the world, and it's important to know those and to keep praying about those and for the people facing hardships and illness and inequality. And we'll keep doing that too. But I think it's also really important to seek out the good news stories. So let me share some positive ones with you. This comes from the Center for Christian Studies newsletter called Tapestry. In the summer edition of their newsletter, there were 4 brief letters from students and staff who were writing in from across the country and around the world actually, with notes about what they are doing and what the church is doing through them and others in their little corner. And they were all encouraging. The first one was from a staff member living in the United Kingdom who wrote about the difficult circumstances in the UK, and particularly in his neighborhood. But the story was really about people coming together, and a group that he's part of, a mutual aid group which was formed to help get food and medical aid to people who needed it, and to help link vulnerable people up with support networks, especially for those facing abuse or mental health strain during the lockdown. He also was celebrating the fact that since February, 4 babies have been born in their little neighborhood, including theirs, and he was thankful that neighbors with older children were sharing whatever gear they had to offer. The second note was written by a diaconal minister who has learned over the past few months, like many of us, how to broadcast worship services on YouTube. Hers are also shown on the local TV station. She also talked about her church finding a way to hold a physically distanced protest in support of Black Lives Matter. It was a small event, but it was a way to show support for people and for a very important cause. The third letter was from a student living in St. John's, Newfoundland. She talked about all of the technology that she and her congregation are using right now in positive ways, including a digital youth group meeting, which those meetings have been going great, I'm told. They have every second week. She closes with these words. She says, "I have taken to heart the learning that our communities have always been greater than the buildings we use as a meeting ground. While the beauty of the building continues, and we will return to that space together, our community is stronger coming out of this time because we have learned how to share the message in new and different ways." Very true. And lastly, 2 chaplains from different care homes in BC talked about the importance of their work with care home residents whose lives have changed significantly during this pandemic. It was so good to hear those stories about the work they are doing to offer pastoral care to vulnerable people who are missing their families terribly and who are increasingly afraid about the future. It's so good to know that we have such good people working for God in all the places where they are needed. For me, being on holidays for the past 10 days and away from church emails and church news, I came back wondering what was going on not only in Selkirk and area, but also within the wider church. And it was especially encouraging to read this good news of God at work in all of these ways and all of these places. It helps to know that God's people are always at work in one place or another, and the work that we do together in our little corner is just a small part of so much that God is doing all over our world. Here at home, we continue to be the church wherever we are. I encourage you to keep connected with us and with one another. Send in your prayer requests, your celebrations. Keep making your phone calls and sending your emails. Keep asking me questions for my Questions for Cole episodes. And please reach out to us if there's anything we can do to help. Stay well, all of you, and God be with you.